Hello and welcome back to another St. Albert housing market update. Things in St. Albert are continuing to be crazy, and today we're going to jump into the statistics from last month. Before we get going, if you're new to the channel, my name is Evan Cochlin. I'm a real estate agent here in St. Albert. I also service the greater Edmonton area, and if you have any questions about what we'll be discussing today, my contact information will be in the description. I'd be more than happy to have a chat. There's also going to be a link in the description to download my free seller's guide. So if you're thinking about selling your property and you want to know about a strategy that we've been using that has been getting great results, feel free to click that link and download that guide. We're going to jump right into the video and get into the statistics. Alright, so we're going to start by talking about the benchmark price for single family homes. Right now in St. Albert, we're sitting at $566,900, and that's up 1.4% over March and up 12.2% over this time last year. So overall, single family houses, the prices are up over 12% year over year, which is a pretty notable spike. Sales volume. So for single family houses, we had 115 total sales that occurred last month. One of those was actually a vacant lot in Grandin. That's included in this number. That is up 1.4% month over month and up 12.2% year over year. So we're seeing an even larger amount of sales volume than we did last year, and that's part of the reason why our prices are getting driven up. We'll talk more about that in a second. Out of the 115 sales that occurred, 8 of them sold right at their list price, 54 of them sold for above their list price, and 53 of them sold for below list price. So similar to the last video, we're seeing lots of multiple offers happening. It's very common right now. I've been experiencing lineups out the door to show houses in St. Albert. It's definitely a crazy market, so it's important to be prepared to compete in multiple offers, especially in certain price ranges, which I'll talk about in a second. New listings. We had 159 new listings hit the market in April, and that's up 24.2% over the previous month. Virtually no change year over year. So like we were seeing here, we've got a big spike in our sales volume, not so much of a spike in our new listings. Things are going to be staying quite competitive for some time. Days on market, we're seeing houses selling even quicker this year, this month than previous. So we're down 4 days, average days to sell a house month over month, and a week less than this time last year. So things are moving quick. Market conditions. Active listings in the single family market, we've currently got 158. As we just said, there's 115 sales volume. That brings us to 1.4 months of supply. And as you can see from my chart down here, anything less than 3 months of supply is what we call a seller's market, and we're well into that seller's market territory. This is when demand is outpacing supply, and this is why we're seeing multiple offers happening so often and prices increasing so quickly, just because we do not have enough inventory for how much demand there is in the St. Albert market. This is where things get interesting, and this is where you can relate these market conditions to your actual position. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, pick your price range and you'll see how competitive that price range is. As you can see, below $400,000, there was only one sale that occurred last month in the single family market, and for these numbers I did take out that vacant lot. So one sale that occurred, and there's 4 active listings right now, so that brings your months of supply to 4. Now this makes it look like under $400,000 is not super competitive, but here's the thing. Lots of listings are getting listed at $399, $389 right now, and the multiple offers are driving them out of this price bracket and into the $400 to $500K range. So when you look at this sector of the market, 31 sales, 16 active listings, half a month of supply. So this is a very, very competitive sector of the market for buyers. And if you are shopping in this sector of the market, you should be prepared to compete in multiple offers. It's happening very, very often. 500,000 to 600,000, there was 39 sales, 27 active listings. They've got 0.7 months of supply, so also very, very competitive. 600 to 700,000, 17 sales last month and 22 active listings, 1.3 months of supply. 7 to 800,000, 12 sales, 20 actives, 1.7 months of supply. 800 to 900, 6 sales, 12 actives, 2 months of supply, so a little bit less competitive. 900 to a million, 4 sales, 8 active, 2 months of supply, also a little bit less competitive. And then 1 million plus, 4 sales occurred last month and there's 17 active listings, so 4.3 months of supply. The only sector of the market that's truly balanced is 1 million plus. This is where you'll have a little bit more options to consider, likely less competition than the rest of the St. Albert market. Looking at townhouses, those benchmark prices are sitting at $332,600. Almost no change month over month, but 11.7% increase year over year. So just about the same price growth that we're seeing in single family homes, we're also seeing in townhouses. Where it gets really interesting is apartments. $270,900 is the benchmark price for those, and that's almost no change month over month, but nearly a 25% increase year over year. And I mentioned this in the previous market update video, but if you've got an apartment in St. Albert that you've been thinking about selling and you've been waiting for the right time, now might be a great time to consider doing that, because we don't see increases in apartment prices to this extent very often, and we're not quite sure how long that's going to last. So like I said, if you got an apartment in St. Albert, it might be a good time to consider selling it. Townhouses, active listings currently 23. Sales volume last month was also 23, so that's 1 month of supply, seller's market territory. For apartments, we've got 26 active listings and there was 21 sales last month, which brings us to 1.2 months of supply, also a seller's market. So it's clear from our statistics that St. Albert's market is very hot right now. Prices are going up every month, supply is very low, and it can be intimidating as a buyer or a seller to enter this market, and you probably have questions. So if you do, my contact information is below. Feel free to reach out. I'd love to have a chat, answer any questions that you have. There's also going to be a link in that description to download my free seller's guide if you're thinking about selling your home. It's a strategy that we've been using to get great results. And click the subscribe button, because I do one of these videos every single month. So if you want to keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on in St. Albert, you'll probably want to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, cheers.